Need a professional space to bring your vision to life? Dominion Television Studios offers state-of-the-art facilities perfect for your next broadcast, commercial, corporate video, or live event. With flexible rental options, cutting-edge equipment, and a supportive team, we provide the perfect environment for high-quality productions. Unleash your creativity. For bookings, email us at marketing@dominion.org.ng. Call us on 0705 506 1061 or 0916 101 1061. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and TikTok at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at
Thank God it's Friday edition right here in Dominion Television, your channel of choice at Dominion Sport. This wonderful Friday morning, we're talking all things sport from the local front, looking at the fixtures in the MPFL. Also, Ibom Angel are doing something fantastic with Akwa Ibom FC. Also, we're looking at the El Clasico between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona. Also, the fixtures in the Premier League coming thick and fast this wonderful morning. Also, remember, basketball is on the menu this wonderful morning. I am Paul Abe Toruwanimi, and I have the expert analyst himself, Samson Balogun, the man with undiluted report and unbiased analysis. Top of the morning to you. Let me take from your playbook. Good morning to you, Samson.
Well, good morning to you, Toluwanimi. It's really nice to be back here, just as we always say, to talk sports. Yes, weekends are for actions, and most definitely Mondays are for reactions. Let's go into the weekend and dive deeper. And of course, I'll talk about actions about to take place over the weekend. Most definitely, what it's going to look like.
All right, let's look at the local front this wonderful morning. It's coming through from the camp of Aqua United as they secure 200 million from Ibo Air sponsorship after relegation. Aqua United Football Club, the 2021 Nigeria Premier Football League champions, signed a 2-year 200 million sponsorship deal with Ibom Air on October the 23rd, 2025 at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium right there in Uyo, Nigeria. The agreement names Ibom Air as the official shirt sponsor for the 2025-2026 Nigeria National League season, providing 100 million in cash, and also is going to equivalent in kind of support, including flight, jersey, and logistics to support the club's second-tier operations. The partnership includes a fan activation with raffles and prizes at home, and matches to enhance community engagement in Akwa Ibom State, replacing a prior deal with 1xBet. There you have it, Samson Balogun. Akwa United are going to be playing in the national NNL this season, starting from next month. But they secured another good deal with Ibom Air, 200 million. How does this, put the club going into this season in the NNL?
Well, I think it's not like they didn't have a sponsor before now. Last season, they paraded one of these betting brands on their shirts in the NPFL, and the contract ended. Mainly, probably they did. 1X did not renew the agreement because they were now relegated, so it does not align with their goal. So these things happen so much, and having relegated, they actually rose back again and got a new deal from Ibom Air, which is an indigenous company in Akwa Ibom, and that's a state. In fact, it's a state government owned business, and it was really nice to see brands coming in they are springing up to actually support locally made products, and that's including Aqua United. So it's a very big one for them. The fact that their NNL games will now be supported with flight, they don't have to travel. So, there's nothing stopping them with this kind of money, and the other arrangements, which also includes fans activation at stadiums on match weeks. I mean, the only thing that you expect from them is to promote back to the NPFL immediately. I mean, I don't think they have lost too many of their players. They can only recruit a few more to help them actualize their dream of coming back to play in the NPFL. I'm
going to ask you why we have pictures, because we have so many pictures from that signing in yesterday. Fantastic picture. Look at the videos also that are going to be displayed on your screen. Samson Balogun, this season for the NNL, we are seeing, massive deal. Also, we saw a certain company also come register a certain amount of money, to pump into the NNL this season. There you have also, Aqua United getting this massive deal. What does this prove? That it looks like we are now getting the brand deals, working through for the NNL and also for, let me put the Nigerian football in a global stage in the NPFL also.
Well, I think the most important thing for us to note here is the fact that nothing happened on its own. I mean, if you put, let's say, for example, this table is here and you just leave it here. If no one touches it, it will be there 100, 200, 400 years. Nothing will move it. So what I'm trying to point out is if you have not gone out to meet potential sponsors, they are never coming to meet you, because no reasonable organization wants to part with their own money. But if you prove to them that there is value in what you are bringing to the table, they definitely want to do business with you. And if you look at the situation of things, the media of each football club in the NPFL, the NNL, they are now doing extra. I think they are now being challenged by the fact that some teams are doing way more than you would expect from the NPFL.
Because I saw a video, from them, fantastic video. It looks like there's a queue from Shooting Stars where they are taking
it's brand visibility. I mean, if your brand is always out there and potential sponsors are seeing value in what you bring to the table, they always want to be a part of what you are doing. And if you look at Shooting Stars, Kano Pillars, and so many other things so far this season, one thing they have been able to do is to put their brand out there. And immediately you are seeing that brand, you would want to be a part of it. Say, for example, if a brand comes in to have a deal with Shooting Stars as we speak, one of the things that is certain is that I think they now have 110,000 followers on Facebook.
Yes, no, on X actually.
On Facebook now, it's 110 right now. Massive. And when this administration came on board, just about a few weeks ago, about 2-3 months now, they were on 80,000 followers on Facebook. And now it has grown, the community has grown by 30,000. It shows you that the power of how much you can do if you are putting in the effort. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is that, as it stands, even on X, they are growing. On Instagram, they are growing. In fact, they had to create a new Instagram account because they could not have access to the one they were using. And see how much it has grown in the space of 1 month. So it tells you that there is no limit to what you can do, only if you are putting in the effort. Now, the teams are now putting their brands out there. There is visibility. And brands are now saying what they usually didn't see. So they want to be a part of it. So for every brand that is doing extra to be out there, just know that people will always want to be a part of it, especially when you are already out there. They don't want to be, they want to put you out there. Take, for example, you have a brand, you have 20,000 followers, and someone says, oh, come and do a business with me, and I have 2,000 followers. I mean, does it make sense to you? Why should you give such person money? So you understand what I'm trying to say. So what are you bringing to the table? So if, for example, you are having a job and you say, oh, you want to put my brand out there, and I check my brand and I see I'm doing way better than you are doing. I mean, my friend, I don't want to do a business with you, because I will eventually be the one, pushing you ahead. It will be my content that is pushing you, and not the other way around. So if we are not on the same table to mutually benefit, I mean, no business is going to happen. So that's exactly what is going on with Ubon. They are coming out to say, look, we saw what you did last season. Let's be a part of this and see where we can go from here.
I just want to ask you last question. How do you see, Aqua United, play their football right there in the NNL? Remember, they were champions in 2021. What was it like for them, being in the NNL this season? And how do you see them? Can they strive? Do you see them coming back to the NPFL for next season?
You see, unfortunately, one of the challenges we have had to face in the NPFL is that as crazy as it is, every team in the NPFL, they believe that they can win the league title, right? They believe they want to play in the continental competition. So they do not care what it will cost them. For that one season that they want to shine, they will spend every kobo to achieve it. And when I say every kobo, I don't want to go into details, but I just know that they will do everything possible to win the league title. And when they win the league title, they become a disgrace to the league that produced the champion. So that is why nobody will rate the NPFL anywhere, because of the kind of champions we produce. Okay. And why do we produce these champions that cannot repeat the feat they achieved or a milestone they achieved just less than a year ago? It's because after a league season has concluded, even the management want to sell players to make money. So when they sell their players to Iraq, to Tanzania, to this, to that, even with the monies they will not declare to the management that they have made, but at least these players will leave. Now, you are the defending champion. The synergy in the team breaks when you have sold half of the team and you're bringing fresh legs on board. Automatically, it will take time for these players to blend. And you do not have that time because you are no longer a competitive team. You have become an average team and you just won the league. So it is no mistake that such team will struggle. They end up finishing in the middle of the table or somewhere lower than that. So that is what we have always been seeing. You see a champion that cannot repeat the feat they achieved last season. And the only team that has survived that scare has been a Yimba Football Club. That's because that is why the name is always there. Maybe Rivers United also tried. You know, they have been consistent with top place finishes, at least in the top 5 in the last few years. They have always been there. Why? Because most of them have enough cash to retain their best players and even improve their contracts. So that's another thing we fail to do. A player is in your team and has been earning the same amount of money for 3 years. I mean, when the offer comes and it is just 15,000 naira difference, the player wants to move.
I agree with you.
So why will you be stuck? I mean, you see teams in the EPL, what they do is that you are on a contract. You have a 5-year contract. You have spent 2 years. They don't necessarily have to extend your contract to give you a pay rise. No. So you might be on the same contract, the same year, right? You have 5 years contract, you have spent 2 years. They want to increase your pay even without extending your contract. So extending your contract is another business entirely. Giving you a pay rise is another, and it cuts across all businesses and all sectors in the country. You know, someone works with you 6 months, 10 months, 1 year, 5 years. The person is still on the same pay. So when the offer comes to leave, even if it's just 10,000, it sticks in his head like, oh, it's a pay rise. He doesn't think about how much that pay rise will take from him. Take, for example, you are going to a different place, and then you are spending 20,000 to get to work now. As at that time. Okay. And then you are moving to a different place that will cost you 40,000. But because of that 10,000, you want to go. And that's the idea. You want to make more money, regardless of how much you spend. So for every football club, I think they should now think in the area of, oh, this player has spent 1 season. Going to the next season, we don't want to lose you because you are an integral part of the team. What do we do? I mean, you call players to the table. So for us to retain you for the next few seasons and you don't just ghost us, what should we do? And when you see players ghosting football clubs, it is because they know they don't have a valid contract with you. It is just a paper signed. The contract you have not even sent to the league management company. So it doesn't hold water. So until it's legally binding and the league management company has that contract, that you cannot just leave your team now. So even until now in the NPFL, players travel to Iraq and the team doesn't even know he has traveled. So when the season starts, they're like, oh, he has gone away. Gone away? How? He doesn't have a contract with you. It's just a paper you printed and someone typed for you. Does your company lawyer, does not your club lawyer know?
Do they have club lawyers?
I mean,
that's the question.
Do they know about this contract they have signed? You just print Premier League contract on social media, on internet, and then put down for player. The only thing you do is to change the name. You know, I mean, we can do better.
I was speaking to Samson this morning before the show, and I was saying, you know, if he's going to come into office to settle situations like this in Nigerian sport, I think would have a big statement and changes when it comes to Nigerian sport, and we hope for the very best. I hope to see you in that in that position. I hope so.
Well, maybe.
Maybe. All right, let's move away from that. Let's talk the NPFL. These are the fixtures for this weekend. It's a fantastic one. On Friday, it's going to be Castilla United against El Kanemi Warriors by 4 p.m. today. We have Kano Pillars. Samson Balogo will say the Pillars are in crumbles against Niger Tornadoes. We have Plateau United against Eyimba on Sunday. We have Wiki Torres against Shooting Stars, which is going to be our focus. We have Abia Warriors against Barao. We have Rangers International against Kwara United. Wadi Wolves against Bayelsa United. Kun Khalifat against Benden Insurance. Which game is looking more entertaining for you to look forward to over the weekend in the MPFL Match Day 10?
Well, I think I'll go with the game between Kun Khalifat and Bendel Insurance. Bendel Insurance are in trouble. They have had to make some strategic changes to things, at the club recently. And they are playing against the Kun Khalifat that defeated the Himba Football Club of Aba and also won against a few teams so far this season. I mean, that's
giant killers.
Really,
you call them giant killers.
That's the. If you listen to what the chairman of the club, even despite coming out recently to say they do not have enough to execute games in the NPFL.
And I'm like.
But if you look if you listen to what he said over the weekend, last weekend, just after they won their last game, he said, look, when he said they were coming to the MPFL, they weren't coming to play. And they won the ticket and came to the MPFL. Now, they want to stay in the MPFL and play in the CAF Champions League. I mean, that's the goal.
Bold. That's bold.
You see, when
that's bold.
They don't necessarily have to play in the CAF Champions League to make that statement. You understand? Because one thing, if you want to achieve 50%, you set your bar at 100%. So even if you cannot achieve your 100%, you will still be somewhere very close to where you want to be. So it's an idea that pushes you to achieve more. So the pressure is on the players, it's on the coach. You always turn out results back to back. You don't want to be the whipping boys in the league because you just got promoted. We have seen situations like that, because you just got promoted, so everyone walks past you, with 3 goals, 3 points every weekend. So it's not always like that. We have had that. It happens too. Things can go wrong. Recruitment can be, wrong. There could be irregularities in management, and then it falls back on the team and the players bear the brunt. So these things do happen. But because you have just promoted does not mean you should be the whipping boys. In fact, you can do way better than teams you met in the league. There are average teams who just, they are just, we call them also runs. They just escape, they just go past every game and survive the league. So why don't they go back to the MPFL and redraw, and then you stay in the league and then make an impact? We have seen that happen so far. Leicester City got promoted. They stuck there for a long time. They went back, and they it's always been a back and forth with some teams, and it will continue like that.
All right. So your result for Kun Khalifat against Benden Insurance was your result for that game?
Well, I see Kun Khalifat coming out victorious. Maybe 3 goes to 1, 2 goes to 1.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, let's talk our darling Shooting Stars, the football club right there. They're going away to Wicked Tourists. Let's look at that game. Something is all fantastic right there. You look at the graphics, honestly speaking, it's given. But it's going to be a big one. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Stadium is where Shooting Stars Football Club of Ibadan, that's where we're going to play that game. Let's look at the head-to-head, the last 5 games for these two teams while we'll talk. Last 5 matches for Shooting Stars has been fantastic. It's been 4 wins in 5 and just 1 draw. Let's look at Wiki Tourist quickly. Let's look at that. Also, Wiki Tourist really struggling this season. The last game against El Kanemi Warriors was a loss. Draw. Another loss to Remo Stars. Another draw. It's not been too good for Wiki Tourist. Let's look at the last 5 games that these two teams have faced each other. The last time they faced was 2022. Here you have Wiki Tourist with it's been back-to-back draws in the year 2022. That season 2027 also, 2017, I'm sorry, was also a massive one for Shooting Stars, and also Wiki Tourist picking up the victory from that one. But let's talk about the game with this stat that we have, on the table. How do you see Coach Nuruddin Awerolo put out his boys to get victory away from home yet again?
I think history and current form favors Shooting Stars in this going into this encounter. Their last encounter ended in a draw, and the one before that also ended in a draw. So that was even the time when Wiki was not doing bad. Yeah. But right now, if you check their last 5 games, it's not encouraging. I mean, you can say Wiki is a team in crisis. And for Shooting Stars, their surge in form away from home has also helped. What they have been able to do is to get draws in strategic locations and then cracked out, an all-important victory away from home in some situations. So it's going to be a cracker. But Shooting Stars, they have the upper hand. They have a momentum that they have built. 5 games, 4 wins, 1 draw. I mean, even as controversial as it can be against Kano Pillars, it's still a draw, which is already on the chalkboard for Shooting Stars. So nobody can doubt that at this time. So if you now look at what it looks like for Shooting, is that these days, even if they are going to go by road, they travel early. So they get enough rest, train well, and then they have the energy to play away from home. So I think Wiki will struggle against Shooting Stars because Shooting Stars they would want to invite Wiki to play and then break on the counter. That's the only way you can survive, in that stadium. And so far this season, I think it has paid off for Shooting Stars.
Yeah, I agree.
They have, pacey wingers, creative midfielders. I mean, fantastic players in Ayobami Jr., Kabiru Tijani. Yes, Aziz started, the season shaky, but he has been rock solid in defensive midfield, and he has even, pushed Adebayo to the bench in terms of Kante. Wow, and we could see in their last few games, it's been Aziz and no Kante, even when they are playing at home. So that shows the level of the level he is as a player with Shooting Stars. And Kabiru Tijani, arguably the revelation of the season, the best midfielder so far. Ayobami Jr. got his first goal of the season in their last home game. And so they have a solid midfield trio, thriving, creative, and they are also scorers. And if you look at the attack, Promise Awosami, Sadiq, Ibrahim, Ismail too, Ayodele also on the left. I mean, fantastic players you can watch. And Abe too, very industrious player, can play on the wing. And when you need an inverted winger to come in and play in midfield, he has always been ever present. That's one thing he has. That Sadiq is, Ayobami Jr. I mean, Ismail Ayodele does not have. And called Mobere. I mean, he would prefer to be up there. And when there is a counter or balls on the break, he's always on the loose. But for Abe, he comes in as an inverted midfielder, helps the midfield, and then when they have the ball, he goes back to his position. Though he has to work a little bit on his finishing touches and the final the pass in the final third. But when you talk about being industrious, it's there, arguably one of the best in the team right now. When you talk about a player being industrious, behind Kabiru Tijani, who is always everywhere, a box-to-box midfielder. And they have a striker who is ever present, Sadiq Ibrahim, and then a replacement in Kamara Dogoke, who comes in and then does excellently well when it comes to replacing Sadiq in the team. So right now, I think Shooting Stars, they are getting it right, and they have to set up in such a way that they contain Wiki Tourists because they will come out of the block because they need this victory more than Shooting Stars. Shooting Stars only need this victory to cement their place on the log. But for Wiki Tourists, they want that victory because they are slipping further down on the pecking order when it comes to the table. So it's really going to be a cracker, but I see Shooting Stars coming out victorious.
All right, we are talking Shooting Stars. Let me ask about Wiki Tourists. Yusuf Gimba, how do you see him also play out? It's been a struggle for his team, this season. But do you think he can also pose a threat, at not giving Shooting Stars even a point on their own turf?
You see, one thing I see with the Shooting Stars team, yes, Yusuf would want to look for tactical changes to see how we can technically affect the game and maybe make it tilt towards his team's side, but it might not be that easy. Because if you look at how Shooting Stars play this season, when they see you as a weak opposition, they take control of the game and they play all through. And then when they realize you also keep the ball, sometimes they let you keep the ball and they invite you to play and then they break on the counter. Yeah, so it's difficult to play against a team like that is ready for any kind of situation on the field of play. But all in all, mistakes do happen.
I agree.
The first 5 games of the season, we saw Shooting Stars make defensive errors, which they have been able to correct right now. But if that happens, then Wiki Tourists might have, their moments. Football is about moments. Yeah. No matter how weak an opposition is, they also have their moment on the field of play. And that's when you see them keep the ball, they hit you on the counter, or maybe, have some create chances, and then eventually convert them, or maybe lose chances too. It's still about moments. But for Shooting Stars, I think they have had, you know, very good moments so far this season. They have converted a few of their chances, even though you would wish they converted more of those chances. But going on into that game, I see Shooting Stars converting a few chances and then sealing it at the back. That would be all.
All right. Let's move away from the game between Wiki Tourist and Shooting Stars. You can drop your predictions right there in the comment section. Let's know what you think of that game. If you're supporting Shooting Stars, with the banner right there, and drop your prediction for that one. Remember, match day 10 in the NPFL fixtures are coming thick and fast. Let's move away from that. Let's briefly talk about the Super Falcons game against Benin Republic set for today. Justin Madugu is set to take on Benin Republic right there in Lome. How do we say this one for the Super Falcons? Something I don't want do you think the girls should just relax and enjoy good football, or we should take the game like we are taking every final?
You know, this is an all-important encounter between these two teams. The final qualifying phase for the World Cup. And, I mean, there can be no slip-ups. There can't be any form of slip-up. So they have to be ever ready. And you can't be too relaxed in a game like this, even though you have to be cautious. You have to take it, you know, a step at a time. You don't rush so that you don't concede, you know, silly goals. And when you have your moment in the game, you take it by the scruff of your neck and handle it so well. And one of the things I so much I'm rest assured of is if they ever create any chance up front, there are strikers who can convert them. I mean, Jennifer Ichejine, you have Rashida Tajibade, Asisa Tushuala. These are big names. Esther Okoronko. These are big names, and they are big-time players. I mean, these are quality players, and if given the opportunity, they will deliver. But this game is such a game where you have to be careful. You are traveling. You are going to play the first leg away from home. So what you have to do, the first 10 minutes of the game, make sure you do not concede. Contain them and see what they are capable of doing. What's the capacity of this team? Aside from the videos you have seen, I mean, which your match analyst has actually worked on. You have to see for yourself, test the waters. Just like you want to bathe in the morning and then you put hot water and cold water together. You want to test first how hot or cold is the water. So once you know that for the first 10 minutes of the game, then you can now take the game by the scruff of the neck and handle things. But they should be ready to break on the counter anytime, because that's the only way, especially when the Beniners are, you know, if they keep the ball more than you do, then you have to soak up the pressure and hit on the counter. And who are the players who are going to do it? Fantastic players, quality players who can barely have chances. So I'm rest assured that the Super Falcons will do us proud.
All right. If you're also rest assured that the Super Falcons will definitely, you know, soar high, let's know your predictions also for that game. So we have two predictions on the bounce for the game ahead of this weekend. We're predicting the game between Shooting Stars and Wiki Tourist. Also, we're also predicting the game between the Super Falcons against the Benin Republic. Let's take the big game for the weekend. We're starting off with the El Clasico. It's massive, coming up on Sunday by 4:15. And it's going to be a big one. But before that, there you have it on the screen. It's massive. We're going to be talking about that game massively today before we move on to the Premier League and also take basketball, and we'll wrap up the show. Also, let me inform you that we have massive highlight for you to look forward to right there. The match day 9 fixtures in the Premier League. I mean, the Nigeria Football League. Let's look at the El Clasico quickly. Let's look at the stats. What's it looking like ahead of this game in the El Clasico? Something about the goal is massive. Xabi Alonso and Hansi Flick. This is the first El Clasico for Xabi Alonso, but for Hansi Flick, last season was massive dominance. Let's have the stats right there displayed on the screen. Massive dominance for FC Barcelona the last time out. You know, and what are your expectations for this game going into this one at the Santiago the Bernabeu Stadium right there in Madrid?
You see, this is a rivalry that has lasted for, you know, for far too long. And it's not going to end now. This is probably another beginning. And that's going to be Xabi Alonso's first. But last season, Real Madrid could not keep up with the pace and tempo of Barcelona's dominance. So they had to suffer heavy defeats against Barcelona, and really disheartening that had to happen. But if you look at the head-to-head between these two teams, Madrid slightly edges Barcelona by just 1 victory, and that's 105 to 104, 52 draws as of the match played on 11th of May 2025. So it's really a close one, but Madrid still leads Barcelona. But one thing that amazes me is that when Barcelona wants to dominate, they dominate back to back, and when Real Madrid wants to dominate, they take it, like that. So their last 5, games, like there's 4-3 in favor of Barcelona, 2-3 in favor of Barcelona, 2-5 in favor of Barcelona, 0-4 against in favor of Barcelona.
This was last season.
I mean, that was last season. It was a whitewash. Total whitewash. And then if you take it a little bit further,
just
you
like
see Real Madrid 3 goes to 2, Madrid 1 goes to 4, Madrid's 1 goes to 2, Madrid 0 goes to 4. So it's I think it's a phase.
Yeah.
You take 4 games, we'll take 3 games, and so that's they have always
so who's taking this one, Samson?
I don't see Real Madrid taking that.
Why?
Already.
Okay, let's look at the start ahead of this one. Let's look at the start for Madrid in the last 5 games. Let's have that, and I think we can use that to build up. There you have it. The last 5 games for Madrid. The last loss. Well, I think I can know where Samson Balogun is coming from. Right. If we look at the game against Atletico Madrid.
They played against Atletico Madrid and conceded 5 goals in a team that rarely scores as much as 5.
I agree with that.
So it means they are leaking in defense. They are leaking in defense, and if you look at them this season too, they have not really scored too many goals.
Yeah.
And when they score, it is always one player doing the show. True. And that's Kylian Mbappe.
Yeah.
When they played against their last game against Juventus, it took an intervention from Jude Bellingham to get a goal. So they also struggle in scoring goals.
Yeah.
If you look at what they do this season, look at the teams they have played and the last 5 games. That is Kairat and Almaty from Albania. Yeah. They were able to score 5 goals against Kairat, which another team, other teams too would have. In fact, if it was Barcelona, probably would have ended in 10 goals, because when they smell blood, they always go for the jugular. So they are always looking for, they are always hunting. And against Villarreal, it was a struggling Villarreal this season, 3 goals to 1. Against Getafe over the weekend, it was just by a long goal.
A long goal.
I mean,
a struggle one at the 85th minute.
They had to. It was a scrappy goal, in fact. So they had to. I mean, that's a normal mark of a great team. No matter how bad that team is at the time, just find a goal, just find a goal and get all 3 points. And against Juventus, a struggling Juventus that the coach is almost about to be sacked.
I agree.
It was just a long goal, and it took Jude Bellingham to dig deep to find that goal. So that's why I said I don't think they are ready, because the only set of big teams they have played so far this season, they struggled. I mean, you can play against Atletico Madrid that is still struggling to find its feet. I mean, that same Atletico Madrid has played lower teams this season and struggled. So why be this? Why score 5 goals against Real Madrid? So one thing Real Madrid will first want to talk about and do in their Clasico is to make sure they don't concede. And when you cannot play a defensive game against Barcelona and not struggle, you will struggle because you will concede possession. And when you concede possession, eventually, whether you like it or not, it's either you score an own goal or you eventually commit penalty in your own box. So that's going to be disastrous. So I'm tipping Barcelona.
Yeah, before we move on to Barcelona, because we're also going to talk about Hansi Flick's style of play ahead of this one. Now, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Dani Cavagna, Dean Hodgson, and also Dani Ceballos are back for that the El Clasico derby against FC Barcelona. Xabi Alonso is set to decide how to use them this season. So let me ask you, defensively, it's been a little bit of shaking right there, but it's been a stability for Eder Militao. Is back from injury. We saw the stability. Also, Rudiger injured. Do you think that Dani Cavagna coming back, Trent Alexander-Arnold can help stabilize the defensive position? Dean Hodgson also help them stabilize the defensive position against FC Barcelona.
Well, if you talk about defensive abilities and fitness, I don't think Cavagna has a lot to bring to the table in that game. But if you are talking about leadership on the field of play, he has a role to play. You would want to see your senior players and your best players on the field of play, regardless of how fit they are. And that's exactly what Xabi is definitely going to take a risk with some of these players who just returned from injury. He would want to play them because he needs that leadership quality, the experience on the field of play. But you cannot be overly reliant on players who are just coming back from injuries, because they might just go back to injury or they perform below par. And you cannot afford to have such performance when you are playing an El Clasico. This is not Getafe. This is not Celta Vigo. This is Barcelona. And it's a huge rivalry between these two teams. So you want the fittest player on the field of play. Well, Federico Valverde is one player that has played in arguably all positions for Real Madrid since he came on. But the only thing I've not seen him do is to be a goalkeeper or play at left back, or be the coach. But he has played as a right back, sometimes as a centre half. He has also played defensive midfield. Creative midfield, played on the right side of the flank, played behind the striker. So he has been virtually everywhere for Real Madrid. So you expect him to be in the starting 11. Aurelien Tchouameni is also around. These are quality players that might actually, do so well. And to have Trent Alexander-Arnold bring a different, approach to game.
Which has been a struggle for him this season.
You see, we have always known that if he moves from Liverpool to Real Madrid, it is going to be a struggle. Virtually all English players, when they cross the border, they struggle. The only player that actually succeeded out there and came back to England was Owen Hargreaves. But immediately he came back, he had an injury crisis. That was when he played for Bayern Munich and then came to Manchester United. I don't think he played a whole season before his injury crisis started, which he never had when he was playing for Bayern Munich. So for Alexander, the same thing is happening. It also happened to Michael Owen and so many other players who have had to travel and then come back home. So it's not something we have not seen before. So it's just a repeat of history that when English players travel, they rarely succeed out there.
All right, and let me just ask this question. Which player do you think can change the course of the game if the team is not coming to play for both teams? You look at FC Barcelona's players, you look at Madrid. Which player do you think can tweak the game by just a single strike?
You see, most people would want to, depend, especially for Barcelona. The fans would place so much expectation on Lamine Yamal in that team. But you see, you cannot underestimate the effect of Gavi, Pedri in midfield. These are fantastic players. And Rafinha too. He has been a major contributor to Barcelona's success so far. And Marcus Rashford on the left. So you really have to, you cannot pin the success of Barcelona to one player. You really have to be wary of every player on the field because one singular pass from defense can split your defense when they want to attack. So it's going to be a really difficult one. 3 passes can actually make it the difference from the goalkeeper to the defender to midfield, and then the striker puts the ball at the back of the net. So it's their kind of football is totally different, and they don't kick the ball from keeper to attack. It's going to be a smooth transition from defense to attack. And for Real Madrid, I think they have to be careful of Kylian Mbappe. Barcelona, they have to be careful of Kylian Mbappe. So far this season, he has been one of the go-to players for Real Madrid. In fact, he has been the main man. And Vinicius Junior has gone silent. But that does not mean you should underrate what he brings to the table. Because they interchange. Kylian Mbappe starts as a number 9. And then when they get into the thick of things and they know that you are already pinning Kylian Mbappe, that he withdraws and plays on the wing. And then Vinicius Junior changes position. So if this pass is coming, Vinicius can also double as a striker on the field of play. So you cannot tell what will happen. So direct football might really help Real Madrid. Long ball to Kylian Mbappe because of his speed. He cuts in and then set up, Vinicius Junior in attack. All
right. What are your predictions ahead of this one, the El Clasico on Sunday? So we have 3 predictions on the menu already. We have the one also coming from Shooting Stars Wiki Torres, Super Falcons against Veda Republic, and also the El Clasico derby between Madrid and FC Barcelona. For me, one player I feel would tweak the things for Madrid is going to be Arda Güler. I want to see him, make sure he holds that position properly and also, create the passes right there for Madrid. Let's move away from that. Let's discuss the Premier League. The fixtures are in action. It's going to be a massive game right there in the Premier League this weekend, and I'm sure you're excited to see that one. Also, yesterday, Shondai picked up a victory. Massive one, and it looks like he's ready to go all in out right there for Nottingham Forest. The fixtures are match week 9. We have Leeds United against West Ham United on Friday, which is today. On Saturday, it's going to be Chelsea against Sunderland. It's going to be Newcastle against Fulham. It's going to be Manchester United against Brighton of Albion, Brentford against Liverpool. And also on Sunday, we have Arsenal against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa against Manchester City, Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest, Wolverhampton Wanderers against Burnley, and we have Everton against Spurs. Those are the result. I mean, those are the fixtures for March week 9. Something about to go quickly. Let's pick the games for Saturday. What game are you looking forward to, and what are your predictions for that game? Quickly.
Well, it's going to be a very big encounter between Arsenal and Crystal Palace. Yeah. Crystal Palace, arguably one of the best teams in the EPL so far. In fact, defeated Liverpool. And if they could do that to Liverpool, Arsenal should be really wary of what they are capable of doing. So I'll be picking Arsenal against Crystal Palace. Arsenal, they are playing good football these days, and they have been, able to play against tough opponents that they most times struggle against, before now. And if you do that, if you pick points against tough opponents, then it shows that you have the gene and, of course, the energy to win the league. So I'll be going for that particular game, even though I still feel Arsenal would win this one. But it's really going to be tough for them. Very tough.
Very tough. All right. Just drop your predictions ahead of that one between Manchester United against Brighton of Albion, Brentford against Liverpool, Arsenal against Crystal Palace, Aston Villa against Manchester City. My eyes will be focused on Bournemouth against Nottingham Forest. I want to see Sean Dyche, trying to revitalize
Sean Dyche is a firefighter.
Yeah, he
will come in, definitely will get results. But the only thing I'm afraid of is by the time it's the end of the season, all your players will be tired because it goes all in. It's the Sam Allardyce of this era. So it's going to be really difficult for them at the end of the season.
Chelsea Sunderland for you?
It's going to be a tough encounter. In fact, so many people think they will walk past Sunderland. But if you look at how Sunderland is set up this season with Isidore in attack, gets the goals for them. One of the consistent strikers this season and an experienced midfielder in Granit Xhaka. Chelsea should really be careful with that game. They might eventually draw. That can eventually end in a draw.
In a draw. All right, we're about to wrap up the show. Let's take stories from basketball as Golden State Warriors beat Denver Nuggets 137 to 139 and to 131 in overtime, led by Steve Curry 42 points, including a game-time three-pointer, while Aaron Gordon scored a career high of 50 points for Denver Nuggets. In a double overtime thriller, the Oklahoma City Thunders defeated the Indiana Pacers 141 to 135 behind Shai Gilgeous-Alexander career best of 55 points. Both victories mark two new lead starts for Golden State Warriors and Oklahoma City Thunders in the NBA season. There you have it. Steph Curry with 42.6 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 6 3-pointers. This game had to go to overtime, and Golden State Warriors are leading already this season with a 2-0 victory. Let's look at the other result for yesterday's game as we wrap up the show quickly. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the man for last season, is on fire. We're talking 55 points. We have 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals, and 2 3-pointers, and it's taking his team to 2-0 victory ahead of the Indiana Pacers. That one ended 141 to 135. Massive one. Samson Balogun, the basketball for you becoming more intense this season.
You see, it's really it's been a very how do I put it? There's this word I want to use. This season has been, they started off the block. I mean, every actor in the NBA, they are up and doing. I mean, from the Golden State Warriors to Oklahoma City Thunders. I mean, they are all doing something really massive. We just spoke about Steph Curry. This is Shai Gilgeous. All of them, they have been in the news. So it shows how intense this season is going to be. I mean, if you have a season that starts this way, automatically, what will happen by the end of the season when the playoffs are, so let's just keep our fingers crossed and see, and just enjoy this moment. I mean, this is arguably, even for the NBA, they know that this is arguably one of the best seasons so far.
Because already this season we're seeing 55 points.
55 points.
Yesterday we talked about 45.
Really massive.
It's massive. We're talking.
And the win margin has been so close for some of these teams. It shows how they have been matching each other toe to toe. So it's going to be, down the wire. It's going to go down the wire.
Come on, we're already having the season overtime. We're already having overtime already this season. Come on, just like Samson said, it's set to happen. A fantastic one in the NBA. All right, that's all we can take on the show. We're going to leave you with highlights in the NPFL for March day 9. Samson Balogun, a big thank you to you. Make sure you enjoy your Friday. I want to ask you, but I don't want to ask you. I want to say, how are you going to enjoy your weekend?
It's going to be time off.
Time off. Amazing. All right, stay blessed. Thank you for staying connected. This is Dominion Television, your channel of choice.